Hey everybody, hope you guys are doing well. Going back to the old-fashioned just one camera for my live stream here. Kind of had to be a a quick setup. How's everybody doing? Let's see. Well, anyway, I don't know how long this live stream is going to be, but I wanted to kind of give you guys an update on everything that's going on here. Maybe show you guys around all the pots that are made, bisque fired, getting ready to be glazed in the next couple days. We start loading the wood kiln for this firing on Wednesday. So it's currently Sunday evening, 6 o'clock, and it's really weird to me because time changed today for anybody who's, daylight savings time ended. And yeah, it's 6 o'clock and it's already dark. So I'm like, golly, this is not right. Hey Penny, how you doing? So anyway, welcome to you all. And like I said, I'm just gonna start out. I know it's people trickle in here at the beginning, but I'm just gonna show you. Yeah, dark, exactly. Bert, it's like I don't know. I just told my wife, I'm like, it feels like it's 9 o'clock at night. It's only 6. Yeah, good evening from Maine. It got darker even earlier in Maine. I know that's the farther you go north, right? The quicker that happens. But then in the summer it stays light longer, right? So anyway, hey everybody. So I'm going to take this off of the tripod here, and we're going to walk around. I'll show you, like I said, a few things in here. Hey Ray. I've got somebody from Portugal. Welcome. So we actually, I still have some pieces that are in greenware, which I can fire greenware in the wood fire kiln, but I mostly fire bisqueware. But I am going to be bisque firing in the next couple days to get the last few things bisque fired and then glazed. It's just easier for me if I glaze bisqueware rather than greenware. Hey Catherine from Austin, welcome. So anyway, like I said, I my wife was like, "What are you going to do in the live stream?" Actually, I originally set it for 3 o'clock, and then I had to change that. So it's different now. It's had set it for 6, and I was like, I really don't know what I'm going to do. I was just going to show you guys, kind of give you an update on what's going on as far as all the work that's out here. It's kind of crazy because I always, leading up to a wood firing, I am like so stressed and pressured that I don't have enough work, or what if I need more of this or more of that. I told one of my friends earlier, I was like, I really have an issue with pushing for more and more pots every time I'm getting ready to wood fire. I was like, if I was that interested in like working out, I said, I'd be huge. I'd be like, but it just, I just refuse to not have enough pieces, or like I want to leave, I don't want to go into a wood fire and thinking I just, did it halfway. So anyway, Penny, to your question, I have not upgraded to that new cushion yet. I took some of the hulls out of it, and it was still a little bit too stiff, and I just haven't had time to mess with it yet to get it where I want it. So I have used it, but just not for throwing. So just so you know, thank you. I still got the old trusty cushion over there on my wheel, or on my chair. So but anyway, so yeah, here, I'll flip the camera around. We're going to walk around. I got a few things drying here in the studio. We'll probably do a little bit of slip decoration on some of these. And then I'll take you out back and show you a lot of the pieces that are already bisque fired, and then some waiting to bisque fire as well. So, all right, flip the camera around here. We have a bunch of soup mugs, which I need to make more of those. That's the time of the year for soup mugs. But I got a bunch of those. They're pretty much dry, and I'm just going to do a little bit of probably red slip dots on a bunch of these. This larger piece is actually a collaboration that I did with another local potter. So that one is made out of a white clay, and then I threw the basic round form, and I gave her some of my black slip. She covered it in black slip. She actually made it so it's up on 3 feet, and then she carved through, did the sgraffito of the design there all the way around it. So we're going to put that in the wood firing and see what happens with it. I have some pictures here. And then my oldest made some of these chicken nugget trays that he calls them. He's got actually has some orders for those. And then there's some more soup mugs. And then my youngest, my 5-year-old, was out here throwing these. And then he wanted me to put handles on them. He said they were coffee mugs. And I was like, well, those are a little small for mugs, but hey, I'm just glad that he was interested in coming out here and making something. First ever trying this, I've got some baby plates that are going in the wood kiln. One of my good friends here locally, they had their first baby and wanted me to make baby plates. And I said, well, I'm not 100% sure that they'll work in the wood kiln, but he wanted to try them that way first. And then if for some reason that doesn't work, we're going to try, we'll do some in the gas kiln. So back here we have lots of pots. So I normally reserve that table back there and this one over here for some of the larger pieces after they've been, well, sometimes while they're drying and sometimes after they're bisque fired. So I've got several pieces, larger pieces there, probably more larger pieces than I've ever had in a wood firing. And then I've got my rack here that's full of lots of platter bowls and all of the kind of things. I've got a bunch of mugs here that I've been working on doing slip decoration on. You guys probably, if you follow me on Instagram, you saw some of these the other day. These are the ones that I dipped in white slip, and then I swiped through with a rib, and then I added the red slip dots. I had like two of this design in my last wood firing, and they were really cool, and I hated that I didn't have more. So I've got some more of those. And then I did a taller, skinnier version of the same style mug. And I did some of those with the same pattern and some differently. So this has white slip, but then I just added the red slip dots up here. And I'm going to do my darker blue glaze over that and my ash glaze. And then I kept some of these with just the stripes through them without the red slip dots. And so those are probably going to go in my rutile blue. And a lot of these newer ones, I also did the scalloped bottom to them. So they have this, I cut these off the bat after I put the handle on, but before the bottom dried too much, and turned them over and then did the scallops on them so that they would have that really cool shape to the bottom of them. That's another thing that I really shouldn't do. Leading up to a wood firing, I'm like, oh, what kind of like specialty thing do I want to do that's just going to take more time? I don't think this way, but I'm saying I end up doing things that are going to take more time that I shouldn't be doing because I need to get pots made so that we can make sure the kiln's full. And I'm like, but I really want to do this. So then I'm like, okay, well, so I'm going to spend extra time doing a flute basically on the bottom of a mug that's not necessary when I need to be making pots for the kiln. But anyway, so flip you guys back around. There's more mugs over here. Some pieces from a local potter, David, that he's the one that brought me my kiln. Him and his wife make pottery down near Charlotte. They brought me their pieces that are going in this wood firing. I actually have some teapots made for this firing, so I've got some three teapots there. Hey, John. Yeah, I haven't seen much chat here recently. I guess y'all are just enthralled with me talking. I have a few lidded jars. I have a couple canister set orders. This one's kind of funky. That one, there was, I learned a lesson. I learned, I have bisque fired lots of, I've bisque fired lots of pots when they weren't completely dry, and just preheat the kiln and let it, just go to 200 degrees and hold there and let them dry out before you fire it all the way. And I've never done that with advancer shelves in my gas kiln. Well, this time I did, and I realized that, advancer shelves don't soak up moisture. So that moisture that came out of the pots just collected on the bottom side of the shelf above, and then all went to one spot and dripped off, and and just kind of, ruined this jar. So you can see all the water that dripped off and just kind of melted the pot before it ended up being fired. Thankfully, that was the only pot in the whole firing that it did that to, but that was part of an order, so I had to make a few more jars to make up for that order. I got some of my apple pie for 2 dishes that are going in the wood firing. I have a bunch of platter bowls, just about all of them with carved rims. And then I'm going to do various designs on the inside, but I have probably close to 20 of these smaller ones that are all carved except for this one, but I did some carving on the inside of that one. Kind of hard to show you with one hand here. I don't want to break anything. And then I made several larger ones as well. You guys have seen some of these. But I'm like, I don't know why I'm carving every single platter bowl, but I'm like, yeah, leave it up to, trying something new and just gonna, let me grab the ladder, show you guys, because I think these are really nice. So you can see the edge of that one carved. I've got some glass beads embedded in the rim of that one. I did some nice carving on that one. You guys, if you follow me on Instagram, you've probably seen that one. That was a 12-pound platter bowl. A lot of them I flatten the rim on, like you see on this one here. I flatten the rim and then I carve it. This one I decided just to leave it the rounded shape and then carve it without the flattened rim, so you can see the profile of it there being different. And I think that one looks really neat. And that one has glass beads embedded in it as well, just some smaller ones in little, and then there's some larger ones there, some more back there. So I've got a lot of platter bowls. I've got some pasta bowls. I've never made those before. Got some pasta bowls that will be going in this wood firing. There's some leftover stuff from previous firings that I have to choose from to go in as well. My tree pots. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, if you're bisque firing with advancers, yeah, watch out for that. This is kind of a new shape of a vase I'm making, but I carved several of them, and I've put, like I said, the tree design on some of them. Here, let's see if I can grab this one. I really like the carving on this one. So some of these, I've gotten into carving, but also some of these I made with softer clay, so I knew they had some extra weight in the bottom. And so I was able to get some really nice deep carving lines in some of these. But also a couple of these I carved a little too much and almost carved through the pot. So, I'm thinking with some of these that I might try putting some glaze down in the grooves and then leave the rest of the pot raw. So I just get a little bit of like hint of glaze down in the grooves, and then all this will be that nice, toasty brown on the rest of the piece. So, and I have some jars also there that are the same shape as that vase, but then with the little gallery seat for the lid. Of the bigger pots over here, we have, like I said, some more jars that are part of a canister set order that I have. The 2 big jugs there that are made in this Edgefield pottery design, as well as those 2 big crocks up there. Also, if you follow me on Instagram, I posted about those. I have a customer from down there that I made a couple crocks for, and he wanted a couple more, and then he's actually going to give these away. And they're going to be honey. They're actually going to be honey stored in those large jugs there. And then I have some other 2-part vases like these here. Those I made the bottom one day and came back the next day and put the top on. We've got a couple other, there's a large jar back there and a carved vase. Those were left over also from, I think, the last wood firing. And let's see. Then over here, besides the mess, there's a large jar, actually, that's a pretty old one there too. That one was actually left at Joseph Sand, the guy I used to wood fire with. Was up seeing him a couple months ago, and he's like, you have a large pot here that we never fit in the kiln. And it was still greenware, so I brought it home, I bisque fired it, And we're gonna see if it'll fit in this firing. And then this is probably one of the nicest shaped large pots I've ever made. So sorry for the shaky camera there. It's a little chilly out here. But that one was actually originally planned. I was just gonna make a really bulbous, like low profile pot. And by the time I started that shape, I'm like, I can't bring it in that fast and make the shape look good. So I just kept going. And by the time I got to like here, I was like, well, I guess I have a giant pot on my hands. And then I was like, okay, I got to put a neck on it to really finish off the shape. And so that's what that ended up being there. And then this is a commission here as well. So I have several commissions. Here's another one that I really like. I carved the base of this one. That's a 6-pound bottle. I carved the base of it and then even did some cutouts, which I think is really neat. And I'm thinking this one I might even do some glazing up at the top and let it run down, but try to keep it not running into the carving. And then so it'll be a nice contrast between the glazed upper part and then the carving on the bottom, and whether I fill in those carves with glaze or I just leave them plain. So yeah, I'm still kind of like borderline. I don't know if I have enough pots versus I have too many. I don't think I have too many, but and yeah, interestingly enough, I'll talk about a couple other things here in a minute, but yeah, some interesting things happening for this firing. Also, if you follow me anywhere on Instagram, I have first ever for me. I've never had a brand new electric kiln in all the years I've been making pots, and I have my first brand new electric kiln. So I used to have a Scott 1231, which is a little bit bigger version of this one. This is a 1227. It's the 1227 3PK, so it's 3 inches thick. It's a production style kiln, and it has not even been fired yet. So just got that. David, my friend, delivered that yesterday to me. So it got it wired up and everything works well. I had some problems with my 1231. I'm going to go back inside now. It's a little chilly. And put the camera on my tripod. All right, there we go. Y'all, it'll be steady now. It won't be shaking. So I had some issues with my 1231. Part of I kind of realized some of that was my fault, and some of it not. But I'm very thankful that nothing worse happened with the whole electrical situation around here. I mean, I've had electricians here to do most of the work for installing, especially kiln stuff, or at least checking it after I've done the work. Um, but the 1231, like I said, I had an issue maybe a year ago with the power wire inside the box. Fixed that. Then I've had issues here recently where I had where it just failed in the middle, but never gave me an error code. So I kind of worked on it, and then I fired it again, and it failed again. So this time, when I was getting ready to install the new kiln, I said, all right, I had the cutoff there at the kiln off, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go turn the breaker off. So I did that. And I told David, I said, I'm still going to check the wires that are in there that come from the breaker, because I'm just paranoid. I'm not going to electrocute myself. And I'm telling you, I'm so glad I did that, because when I came back, so if you're not sure, aware, 240 volts works off of 2 different 120 volt channels. So one of those channels still had power. So one of the 2 hot wires going to the kiln still had 120 volts going to it. And I'm like, this is weird. The breaker is off. So I called my neighbor, who is an electrician. He came over, and when he came over, we checked it, and he's like, that's strange. So we pulled out the breaker, and here's the 60 amp breaker that was attached to that kiln. And this was inside my electrical panel. So it had melted this pole so much that it had fused and made a constant contact, that even when this breaker was off, that it was still sending power through this channel here to the box. So I told him, I said, I am thankful that nothing worse happened, because, I mean, who knows what could have happened, fire, electrical, burn down everything I have here. I'm just like, that is crazy. I've never seen a breaker like that in my life. And so anyway, yeah, So yeah, just an encouragement to you all that when you're working with electric kilns, yeah, don't go cheap. Don't try to like shortcut the system. You know, make sure it's done right electrically. And everything I had was done, you know, correctly. Other than maybe I should have had, well, even if I'd had a bigger breaker, the 1231 rates at 72 amps, and this is only a 60 amp breaker. But it should have kicked this breaker if it was pulling too much, and it never tripped. It just burnt up. So either way, that's probably my fault for not having a bigger breaker. But I fired it that way for years and never had a couple years and never had a problem. So anyway, but yes, everything's okay. You know, like I said, it is amazing. Yes, and it is good I checked, right, Michael? Because you know, as far as I know, you know, 120 volts like a regular outlet probably is not going to kill a grown adult, but it could hurt you. And if I'd have just started messing in that box and not known it was hot and touched a wire, it could have really hurt, or, you know, who knows. So I checked, and then yes, we found all the other issues that were the problem. So anyway, that's that's not a woe is me. That's just a, hey, you guys make sure you check before you get, you know, if you have electrical problems, unless you know exactly what you're doing, call somebody who does and have them check it out for you. So anyway, leading up to this wood firing, there's been lots of craziness going on. Some good things and some not so good things. That was one of the not so good things. A couple of the other good things that were intentional were, you know, family vacation, and then going to a father-son camp with my oldest son. Some of those were not well-timed in the sense that I needed to be working, but at the same time, my priorities are to my family first, and then my pottery and my business second. I definitely have to make sure the pottery and the business is running well so that I can provide for my family, but there are things like that that I definitely make a priority. And also, one of the big strange things for this firing that's it's going to be really weird for me, and something I want to ask you guys to join me with, is that from my second wood firing, I had a guy named Samuel who helped me fire my second wood firing. So that was in like July of 29, let's see, 2020. Yes. Okay. So, and shortly after he helped me with that firing, he ended up having a seizure. He ended up having, it was a brain tumor that led them to find out that he had cancer. It was not brain cancer, but it was another form of cancer that was actually kind of worse than brain cancer. He then got treated and was doing pretty well. Samuel has spent a lot of time here. He met me through YouTube, so it's kind of really personal as far as what I'm talking about right now, because that's I've met so many wonderful people through having my YouTube channel, mainly about pottery, but then it's affected other parts of my life because of that. But Samuel had been treated, and he was doing really well. He had a cancer that was not supposed to be for somebody who was in early 30s. But now the tumor has come back, but he's also going through liver failure, and they basically have said there's nothing they can do for him at this point. So I want to ask you guys, as far as partnering with me in that sense, that, you know what, if you believe in prayer, pray for him and his family. If you don't, do whatever you feel is right for you. I'm not compelling anybody to do anything they don't feel comfortable with. And if you don't believe in God, there's nothing to pray to. So you do what you want to do, but if you believe in God and you believe in prayer, then pray for him and his family. I still believe in miracles, but at the same time, there's reality that life is, it's not on this earth. It has an end to it. So, he's been such a big help to me, and it's been anyway, it's been wild, and it's been tough for me recently, because this is going to be the first firing since then that he's not actually going to be able to be here to help. Yeah, he's been documenting a lot of his process on his Instagram, and I'm not going to share that with you guys because it, you know, like I said, it's not something, he's not looking for sympathy, but it's been amazing to see his attitude, and as he's been going through this. It's not that it's not been hard for him, but it's inspired me, and I'll talk more about it later. I definitely will. So anyway, just to let you guys know, that's another thing I've just been dealing with on the side, outside of preparing and working so hard. I have not had a chance, and it's actually not really appropriate at this time for me to even go see Samuel, because it's just so severe at this point that it's his family's taking care of him, and and that's that. You know, hospice has been called in to help take care of him as well, and so yeah. So anyway, so that's that. Not to be a downer in the conversation, but it's been an inspiration for me. Samuel has, but at the same time, it is heartbreaking at the same time. So that I would love to see him, but I've at least written a note that's going to go to him that his sister's going to read to him from me. So, but anyway, so yeah, that's that. Not like I said, I'll share more about that later. And when it all comes down to it, I've got some things in mind that we may do. Um, like I said, when he passes, we may do some things in honor of him and support some things that he was interested in. So anyway, we'll talk more about that later as I decide what I'm going to do. So for now, let's see. Maybe we'll get in. We'll do some slip decoration maybe on some of these soup bowls. I need to throw some more soup bowls as well. I know it's like we're going to start loading the wood kiln on Wednesday, and I'm going to throw some soup bowls. I don't know. We'll see. That's all got thrown into the just craziness of leading up to a wood firing. Also, I guess if you guys have any questions, let me know as far as just in general. I mean, that's what you guys are here for in a live stream, is you get a chance to talk to me, and you don't normally on a video. You can't you can't stop me and ask questions. It's been great to meet a lot of you that have come here to my studio. Got to meet me, I got to meet you is what I mean to say. It's not, I'm not that arrogant. I don't think it's just, I'm not saying it's a privilege that you got to meet me. I'm saying it's been great to meet all of the people that have come. It's just really cool because I spend a lot of time when I'm making videos. I spend all the time making videos, standing here talking to my camera, and it's really cool to meet people on the other side that I am talking to. And just realize that there's times that I've really been able to help people, and it was really, like I said, going back to Samuel, it was really heartwarming that his sister sent me the message, saying, hey, he may not be able to express right now, but how much I've meant to him in the last year and a half or so that we knew each other, and like I said, pottery was one of those things that kept him going, which is really cool. That's really inspiring. I've talked several times on different videos about how I think it's just amazing. I think it's amazing that if anybody can find what their talent or what they're passionate about in their life, if you can find that thing in your life that you're either passionate about or you have a talent for, I think that's amazing in and of itself. And it's funny because Samuel had told me that there were times that he had tried all these different things and never found what he was really into because he didn't stay with him. And once he found pottery, it was one of those things that he's like, this is it. And he found it, and it was really cool. So I think it's amazing, even if you found that, a year before you pass away, it's still worth it, I think, because the fact that you can find something that you're passionate about and that you enjoy is amazing in this life. Then for me, I think I just, my gratitude goes to a whole nother level. The fact that that I could then take what I'm passionate about and my talent that God gave me, and I can turn it into what I do for a living. That, like, I don't know. I can't even express how grateful I am so many days that I can just get up and do what I enjoy. Not to say that there's nothing, not to say that every day is bliss standing here in my shop making pots or doing some of the things that I have to do. But I don't get up. Like, there are so many people in this world that just get up every single day and go to a job that they really don't want to do because they need the money to pay bills, to do other things, or to fund the things that they really do want to do. And I don't have to do that, and I'm grateful for that. Very thankful for that, and I don't take it for granted because you know what? Tomorrow that could be gone. It really could, and so I'm going to enjoy it while I can and be grateful for it. And I encourage you to do the same. You may not be able to make pottery for a living, but if it's your passion and you can find a way to do it, then do it. Or if it's just a hobby and you don't hate what you do for a living, as far as your full-time income, then just enjoy it as a hobby and just be grateful that you found something that you're really passionate about to do as a hobby, because some people don't have a hobby. They go to work every day, they come home, they watch TV, they go to bed, and they do it all over again 5, 6 days a week. So that's to me is a sad existence. Maybe for them it's not, but my life would feel empty if I did that. And maybe that's because I know there's an alternative. Some people don't know that. Um, but yeah, it's there are days that I stand out here and I think, oh my goodness, I cannot believe that I get to do this. I really. So I hope that comes through in my videos as well, because I'm thankful for YouTube as well, because that not YouTube as a company, but for the ability to make videos to reach all of you out there. I'm thankful for that ability. YouTube as a company, I could care less. They that's they don't. I honestly wish there was another platform I could use, because I'm not really fond of YouTube in general. But we won't go down that path. But I'm thankful to be able to make content that I can share with you all, to share inspiration, to share information about pottery, and to share things that I've learned that may help you, that may benefit you in your journey in pottery. Um, and then, like I said, just to make connections with people like Samuel, Aaron, another girl that helps me wood fire. There's two more people come to help with this wood firing that have never helped me with wood firing before, that I met through YouTube. So I mean, it's just like, you know what? I mean, all these people that I just would have never met. And I'll be talking about some of those probably recently. You probably meet them, because I'll do some live streams during wood firing. You may meet a couple of the others. Whether they want to get in front of the camera or not, that's up to them. But anyway, so it's just a cool experience. So anyway, you guys have any questions, I guess, regarding wood firing, pottery, that you want to ask me that I haven't been able to be asked because of various reasons, regular videos, all that kind of thing. Now that you have me on a live stream, is there anything that you want to ask, or anything specific you want to see? Like I said, because you're here and you got me. The other cool thing, some of the people have been here, I've been able to, they very nice people that I've got to meet here. Some of them apologetic, like for using too much of my time, and I'm like, no, you came all the way here, and I'd love to spend time talking to you, do a wheel demo, answer questions, all that kind of stuff. It's been fun. So all right, I don't see any questions popping in, so or any comments. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. I'm happy to share. I at times think, man, I wish I could make more videos, but I have to keep my priorities straight. I have to realize that I'm a potter who makes YouTube videos. I'm not a YouTuber who makes pottery. And so my priority first is, because I make my living making pot and selling pottery. And now YouTube, my videos do help that process along, but they are not the the funding for that. So well, you're very welcome. I'm glad that Potter. I'm glad I'm helping you. I'm not even going to pronounce your name. I believe you were the one. Gosh, I can't remember where you were from now. I saw it. Oh, from Portugal. Yeah. So no worries on your English there, but I'm glad that I've helped you, and I'm glad pottery in general, or that endeavor, has helped you after the loss of your sister there. So how does the cooler weather affect the wood firing, or does it? It doesn't really affect the kiln at all. It's it helps us that are firing the kiln tremendously, because the July one was torturous, I can tell you that. But the spring and fall firings are really nice, because it's the lows, I think, while we're firing, are going to be in like the 40s. The highs are going to be in the 60s. And to me, that's amazing. I don't even mind if it's colder than that during a wood firing, because the kiln can definitely keep you warm. And that summer firing is just kind of torturous. But the actual kiln itself, you're building up so much heat that it really does not matter. So, Martha, when will you start the wood firing? So we'll load the kiln on Wednesday and Thursday. So it takes about 2 8-hour days to fill the kiln with the pots. And then after that, it takes about an hour and a half or so to brick up the door. In general, that's what it's been. So I've had a lot of people say, why don't you build like a door that just like swings closed? And I'm like, That's like you have to way over engineer something to make that happen. And I said, it's only an hour and a half of bricking up the door. That's not like, to me, it's not worth all the other process. And it's kind of fun. I mean, you know, bricking up the door and then doing the clamming and all that. It's just, to me, it's just part of that process of that. So then usually I'm done with that. Uh, I think the last time we did, and we might have had the clamming on the door, might have had finished the door by like 5:30, 6 o'clock on Thursday. And then I didn't actually start the fire until like 10 o'clock Thursday night. And so, yeah, so that's what we did then. And then it's just kind of a campfire to preheat the kiln all night long Thursday night. Then and then we start increasing the temperature from about 300 degrees, rising from about 5 a.m. on Friday morning all the way through until midnight Friday night, where it reaches about 2,100 degrees by that time. And then we hold it at that temperature overnight for like 6 hours from midnight to 6 a.m. And then on Saturday morning, 6 a.m., we finish, if we need to, increasing the temperature in the front and then start side stoking to get the temperature up in the back of the kiln as well. So that's an overall view. And then once we get the temperature throughout the whole kiln that we need, then we put the salt in. And then we have to fire, after we put about 50 pounds of salt in the kiln, we fire for about a full hour after finishing the salting to clear out any excess salt. And then we can crash cool it. And um, and then, sorry, my wife was texting me. Then we can crash cool it and then close it all up and then let it cool naturally from then on, and then we unload it on Tuesday. So there's an overall view of the. Let's see. Thank you, Catherine. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing another wood firing too. Um, how long does it take to load the kiln? That's a major part of it for sure. Yes. Okay. So yeah, I just explained that. It takes 2 days to load the kiln. And that's because, like I said, every single pot that goes in the kiln, we have to put the wads of clay on the bottom, that we mix that wadding, so that it resists the salt and the wood ash that are in the kiln, so that when the firing's done, those wads will come off the bottom of the pots. And that's why you see on the bottom of wood-fired pots, that's why on the bottom of wood-fired pots you see those dots right there. That's where the wads were sitting on the bottom of the pot. That elevates the pot off of the shelf so that it doesn't fuse to the shelf during the firing. So that's why you see those. But see, then I can knock those off and then sand that clean and smooth, and then you're good to use it after that. Let's see. How hard is it for older folks to get into pottery? Well, Timothy, I guess that is an interesting question. It probably depends on how old you're talking about, and also depends on how much time you have, how much disposable income you have, where you live. There's a lot of factors there. So I think it's probably hard for anybody to necessarily get into pottery. If in certain circumstances, I'd say if you have a community art center that does pottery, that's one of the best ways to at least try your hand at it. If they do classes, that's probably one of the best ways to at least start and try your hand at it. It's never easy for anybody when they start anything as a craft, because that's what makes it special. Is like, nobody's going to sit down at a piano and just knock out a tune. Nobody's going to pick up a guitar and just sound like a professional musician the first time they do it. Nobody's going to paint a beautiful painting the first time. That's where I do believe that if you have a God, what I call a God-given talent for a trade or a craft, or a skill, like, I mean, a talent for something artistic like that, I think that helps you. But then I think if you are willing to work hard at it, then you can develop a skill that will add to that, and then just kind of like multiply the talent that you have already. I do believe that most arts are things that just about anybody can do if they're willing to work hard at it and develop a skill. I just think it will be harder if you don't have a talent to begin with. So I met somebody here actually just recently. They came from Florida, and she said she's one of those people that said that she does not have, she doesn't believe she has a God-given talent, but she's worked hard at it. And she said, I still don't think I'm good, but I have been able to make pots, and she's finding her way into what she really likes, and she's actually started making mugs with like animal faces on them, like dogs and cats, and she showed them to me, and they looked amazing. And she's like, but she's having a hard time throwing, but that's something she's been able to do. So yeah. So let's see. Hopefully that helps, Timothy. Um, Good to see. Sandra, it's good to see you, Matthew. Thank you. Um, Thank you, Janet. Please remind us when the kiln opening will be. Julie, that will be next, well, not next weekend. That's when we're firing. So the 19th, 20th, and 21st of this month. So that's in like a little less than 2 weeks. It'll be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 10 to 5 each day. That's the in-person kiln opening here. And then I will do an online sale early December. I've got so much going on. It's kind of crazy. I have ornaments for our hospice to get together because they're selling those. I would love to do gas firings, but I don't know that that's going to happen. I am considering next year only doing 2 wood firings instead of 3 because I've hardly done any gas firings this year, and I really love some of that the work that I do in there, and I just haven't had time. Either that and or maybe hiring somebody to work with me part-time, maybe as an apprentice, to help get things through the process so that I can have more time to do what I need to do to make all that happen. So yeah, Dawn, that's great. Having a community center, that is perfect. So let's see. Mary, I guess that's how do you finish the bottoms, and how long does it take? On the, like, a piece coming out of the wood firing, that doesn't take very long because a lot of times those wads fall off the bottom when I'm bringing them out of the kiln. And then I have a bench grinder that's a slow speed bench grinder that has like a cushioned expanding wheel that I put silicon carbide sandpaper wheels on, and then I can smooth the bottom of pots like that very easily. If I have to hand sand them, they can still do that, or if I need to use a Dremel tool, I have all that. But I can get, like, well, on load Tuesday, I'll have Wednesday and Thursday to get everything cleaned up and ready for the sale Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I'll do it all in that time frame. So and if you're talking about finishing the bottom of like pieces that are coming off the bat, that's a whole different thing. I have covered that in a couple videos, but let's see. Yeah, Janet, pottery is a great teacher. It has a whole lot of connections to the rest of life, doesn't it? Let's see. I need some water. I'm feeling my throat being dry here, but I don't know that I have any water out here to drink. Let's see. I don't think I do, but I can feel my throat getting dry talking so much, and I would like to get some water. So I tell you what, if you guys will give me just a second, I'm going to run and get a bottle of water, and I'll be right back and answer some more questions. I'll get you the wadding recipe and talk about clay. So give me just a second. Now I'm out of breath. That's not good either. Mm-hmm. That's right. But see, you can cut up all you want in this classroom. I'll never know the difference. The only person you'll get in trouble with is either you or with yourself or your spouse or whoever's with you where you're watching this. So, uh, anyway, A. Burke said, feels like we're back in school and the teacher leaves the room. That's why I said that. So anyway, all right, the wadding recipe. I do it in parts, so not by weight. The wadding recipe, we do 5 parts of sand. So I just buy play sand, that smooth sand you can buy like at a hardware store. I do 5 parts of that. So I just get a scoop, and then I just, whatever scoop I choose, I just do that in parts as far as volume. 5 parts sand, and then I do 3 parts of, shoot, okay. I think it's, dang it. I'm trying to, I've got it on my phone. It's anyway, I tell you what, I'll get it later and I'll put it in the description because I don't want to mess you up, but I'm pretty sure, yeah, okay, it's 5 parts sand, and I'm pretty sure it is 3 parts of or no, 2 parts of uh shoot, yeah, because it's got EPK and then fire clay and then alumina. So I'm pretty sure it's 2 parts alumina after that, and then a part and a half of EPK and a part and a half of fire clay, which I use Hawthorne Bond. So that makes up a whole 10 parts or evens out the recipe. But yeah, anyway, if it's, I'll put it in the description later. Like I said, I can't remember what the recipe is off of my head, but it's something very similar to that if that's not it. But I've got it saved on my phone. So what kind of clay do I use? There's a local clay manufacturer here, Starworks, and so for my wood firing, I buy. I've used several different of their clays. They have 4, 5, 6 clays that will work in a wood firing. I normally use one that they have called Oka Medium. They were out of that this time, so I bought some Grogawimi, which is the same recipe but with more grog, and I bought some Okawimi Fine, which is the same recipe but with a little bit less grog than the one I normally buy, and just use the variations of those. I also used some new Catawba, which is what these pitchers are made out of. That clay is very smooth, but and it throws amazing on the wheel, but it's a darker clay body when it comes out of the kiln, so I don't like to use it by itself normally. But I just had to because I was running low on clay and needed to make some pitchers, and so that's what I used that in that. In my gas kiln, I use right now I'm still using Hestia from High Water in my gas kiln. Yeah, Janet, I'm glad you said that about hand building, because you can do pottery and you don't have to have a wheel. There's all kinds of hand building you can do that, if you don't feel like you have the strength to wheel throw, or you don't have the skill or don't have the time to learn hand building yet, it's not like it's going to be extremely easier as far as you guys still got to develop the skill with it, but you can hand build. And there's some amazing hand built stuff out there that I've seen people make. And you can still make cups, bowls, plates, all kinds of stuff, and it's all hand built. So you don't have to throw on the wheel to make pottery or make ceramics. So you can definitely do it without that. All right. Any more questions? So with my slip design, I have a few different slips that I use. A couple main ones that I use. Oh, that's a great question. Christian Bowers, any issues with fly ash landing on the pots and not melting? The only time that will happen in a wood firing, and it does happen in wood firings, but the only time wood ash doesn't melt until you get to those really hot temperatures. So if you get wood ash that's fly ash in a kiln and it lands on the pots, and it doesn't get to that like cone 10, 11 at least temperature, like 2300, that ash will not melt. And so if that fly ash gets on there and you don't reach that temperature, you will have crusty ashes on a pot. Or if ashes get in the atmosphere on your way cooling down, that can happen as well. So that's one thing that we try to do is get the top temperature. We introduce the salt into the kiln, which also helps kind of melt the glaze and the ash and everything that's on the pots. So the salt definitely helps with that. And then we fire for an hour afterwards, and I try to get that temperature back up to the hottest temperature. And then once we finish stoking, I really try not to mess with the embers that are in the kiln anywhere, so that it can start to cool without any of those embers getting in the atmosphere to land on the pots. But you actually do want that fly ash on the pots, you know, on your way up to the top temperature, because that allows you to get, let's see. I'm trying to find a piece that would be a good example of that. All right. So this pitcher here was completely raw on the outside before it was fired. And so you can see, you especially could if you were in person, but you can actually see this side right here got more of the ashes and the salt on it than this side right here. So you can see it has some shine and some texture on this side, but you can kind of see on this side where it's got more, it's got kind of a nice green drip, and look, and right in here you can see where some of those ashes actually landed on the shoulder, and eventually when we got to temperature it melted and started to run down. And so you get very directional pots in a wood kiln like that, and that's kind of what you want. But if you didn't reach the top temperature that you wanted to, that ash would not melt. So well, Jan, you're very welcome, and thank you all for praying for him, those that of you that are. So yeah, he's like I said, Samuel's been really an inspiration to me, because he's been very optimistic through the process, and we've had a pretty good friendship throughout it, even though I've known him a short time, and it's been good. So I'm not going to go down that road again. I've already been emotional earlier today about it. But anyway, I was talking about slip. Okay, does your kiln have a bag wall, and if so, how tall is it? No, the wood kiln does not. Actually, none of my kilns do. Well, the wood kiln kind of does. In my wood kiln, when you walk into the wood kiln is only about, I have a concrete pad, and where you walk in is only about 6 inches up off that concrete pad, and that firebox is about 5 feet deep. And then there's about an 18-inch or 16-inch rise in the bricks, and then that's the wear floor for the pots. So that's kind of like a bag wall, because that means most of the fire and all the embers are down below, but it's still heating the kiln, and the ashes still get in the atmosphere and all that. So it doesn't have a bag wall other than that straight step up that's about 16 inches high. You can see videos. Let's see, if you, John has made the best video of anybody of the whole wood firing process, John the Potter. So if you go check out his channel, look up for, it's probably Epic Wood Fire Adventure. That's what it used to be called. I think the name might have changed, but anyway, that video, or wood fire process, I can't remember now the whole process, but that video. You can see the kiln as we're loading it, firing it, unloading it, all in one video. I need to make one of those, but he was here being a, kind of like, I mean, he was involved in the process, but he was also able to step back and take video, and that's just an amazing video that he made of the process. So. All right, I'm going to show you guys some of the slip work on some of these soup bowls here. I do this red slip that I use is one of my favorites that I use. What I'm going for, I'll show you what I'm going for. So this bottle right here had red slip dots on it, and then I put my blue glaze over top of that. And so that's what happens with the red slip. And depending on how hot the blue glaze gets, it will either be this matte finish, or it will be shiny like that. and then it interacts and moves around or pulls some of the slip with it. And so I'm going to be putting some red slip dots on the inside of some of these uh, um, soup mugs, and then I'm going to line them with the blue, and some of that will pull down on the outside. A lot of these soup mugs I basically leave raw on the outside, so I just let that be the salt glaze, kind of like that picture I showed you, and then the inside will be glazed. And so I'm just going to do some red slip dots around the inside rim so that it gets interaction with that blue blue glaze, and so there's that. So. Which is more cost effective to fire, Nikia? Uh, it just depends if you want to count the labor of getting wood preparation done for a wood firing, because if you're paying somebody to prep the wood for you for a wood firing, gas is cheaper. I get most of my wood for free, and I do most of the preparation of the wood for the wood firing, so that makes wood firing cheaper in that sense. As far as the specific firing of it, yes, it's more time consuming, takes more work. Of course, there's more pots in my wood firing. And then the kiln itself is way more expensive than a gas kiln. So, yeah, take what you want from that. I don't know the answer necessarily. How many pots go into the wood kiln? The only time we counted is when John was here in March, and we counted 791 pieces that were in that firing. Like I said, probably anywhere from 600 to 800 is what I tell people. It all depends on the size of the pieces. I never, like I said, I just have never counted other than then. We counted as they came out because we just thought it'd be fun if John and I each gave away a piece to the person that got the closest, and all the guesses that came in. And I think there was like a couple on mine that guessed 792 and a couple on his that guessed 792. Nobody guessed 790, I think. It was funny because nobody got it right on, and somebody on both of our Instagrams guessed like one over, or multiple people guessed one over. So anyway, let's see. So I'm gonna have to tilt this down to show you guys. Oop, I gotta spin. In order to tilt this, I gotta spin my tripod. Sorry about that squeaky noise. So I have my slip in these hair applicator bottles that I got from a beauty supply store. I mix all the slip myself. This red slip has like 75% of this recipe that's in this red slip is my local red clay that we dig here, and the rest of it is other commercial stuff that you can buy mixed together myself. And then I add extra red iron oxide. Thank you for saying bless you. The rest of it is I also add red iron oxide to give it extra iron. And like I said, and this slip, I've had several people ask me about these slips working at a lower temperature. This red slip, any of them would work, but this red slip will not really melt well at cone 6. It really only melts well when you get to like cone like 11 to 12. Like it's because it's such a high clay content. And my white slip, it doesn't really melt necessarily, but it has a decent amount of silica in it, which allows it to really shine up well when you have it in the wood kiln. Let's see. Like this mug here was dipped in the white slip from my North Carolina, so you can see the raw clay where it did not have slip, and then the white slip all around that, and you can see that nice shine that's on from that white slip. So. Anyway, we probably won't stay on too much longer, but I'm just going to show you a little bit of the slip work. And like I said, I normally do this at my wheel and near a bucket of water so that it's easier in a sponge. But then I can just get this slip and just do the dots with it. And then like I said, when I glaze over top of that, it will give me that interaction with the glaze. Yeah, I probably need to squirt some of this out just to get it flowing a little better. There we go. Yeah, this red one, recently I've been having problems with it. I probably need to sieve it a little better because either the bottle's getting jammed up or the slip needs to be sieved a little better. If I squeeze it harder, it will come out fine, but also if I squeeze it harder, I'll make a mess if I'm only trying to do dots. A lot of slip, depending on the slip and depending on the clay, you can't do on dry greenware like this, but with this red slip, I know that I can, and I can get away with it. Yeah, this red slip, I'm gonna make a mess unless I get this working right. Yep, I'm not gonna keep doing this on camera because it's just not flowing well, and I'm gonna end up making a mess and have to clean this off. Yeah, I get like 2 or 3 good dots out of it, and then it's like clogging up. So anyway, but that gives you an idea of some of the slip work that I do. I'll work on these off camera. It's hard enough to do on camera, and then if the bottle's messing up, it's making it even harder. But you can see also I've done some where I just kind of squirt it on like in a little bit more wild fashion, and then I'll put my rutile blue over this because the rutile blue, for whatever reason, makes the slip run that much more. It helps kind of like fluctuate it more, and it'll blend with the rutile blue and then make it run. Here's a design I did on that one with the white slip. And so actually this one was put when this was fairly dry, and it did not even, it didn't even crack the white slip. It all depends on the fit between the slip and the clay. You know, I'm sure there's clays and slips that you could just take the completely dry pot and dip it in slip and it would be fine. But it just really depends on your clay and slip combination. So. Wait, by local, do you mean you went in your backyard, or is it from a local clay supply? Well, I didn't go in my backyard, Manatee, but my friend Joseph has red clay on his property, and we actually dug it on his property. Yes, local red clay that we dug. I don't do that often, and I don't do it for any of my throwing clay, but for the clay that's in that slip, yes, it's not local, you know, clay from a supplier. It's local, like, yeah, shovel and buckets, or in that case, it was actually his, you know, front loader and red clay in the bed of my truck. And then I brought it here and tamped it down and then sieved it, weighed it, and added it to the recipe. So what mesh sieve? For my slips, I probably did a 40 mesh for the slips to make sure that, you know, it was big enough for the clay to go through. So yeah, I can't remember, but I have a smaller bucket of the slip, and I sieved it, and I haven't really messed with it that much, so I don't know if it's the bottle or the slip. I could probably try a new bottle and see if that would help, but either way, I'm not going to mess with that right now. We've already been going for a little over an hour, so I'm going to get a tissue though, because that sneeze has got me. Anyway, that way I can stop sniffling. Yeah, it is really cool. I don't have any ambitions to dig all of my clay locally, and just, you know, the amount of time and man hours. I mean, it takes long enough to make pots as it is. And if I went to dig my own clay and then make the pots, I just, you know, I don't have anything against people that do that. And I don't, but I don't have any desire to do it myself. I don't mind buying a clay from a local clay manufacturer. The benefit of buying it also is the fact that they've hopefully have the expertise to mix a really quality clay body out of different clays from the area, and can get a better quality clay in the end than just the natural clay you would dig out of the ground. So, you know, in that sense, you're going to get a better quality pot in the end as far as usability, because the clay is most likely going to throw well on the wheel. It's going to fire well. It has good thermal shock properties to be able to be used. Actually, you know, if you want to put hot coffee in it, or if you want to bake in a pie plate, you know, hopefully you're going to get a better quality clay that can be more usable as far as functional work. Decorative work, you don't really have to worry about that nearly as much, but I make functional and decorative work, so I want to make sure, that I get a good quality clay that way. Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for being here. Like I said, I'll answer a couple more questions and then we'll just kind of call it, because like I said, it's been a little over an hour and I'd planned this earlier in the day and then had to move it. And then, so I haven't really gotten as much work done today as I wanted to. So I kind of need to get off here and get some of that work done anyway. And then I got to do a bunch of glazing between tomorrow and Tuesday so that we can be ready to start loading the kiln on Wednesday. Yeah, Kristen, you're welcome. Appreciate you being here. Yeah, well, stay tuned. I'll, like I said, I don't know, maybe we'll live stream a little bit of the loading. I don't know, or maybe we'll just do some video clips. If you don't follow me already, if you have Instagram or Facebook, I'm on both of those. I only really post on Instagram. I just make it go to Facebook simultaneously when I post there. So if you follow me there, I definitely post more regularly on Instagram than I do on YouTube, because I don't have all the production time going into a post on Instagram. Let's see. Any favorite tool you use to carve? Yes. As far as I have diamond core tools for my carving. Let me grab that. I'll show you. All right, so my favorite tools for carving. For trimming, I use this half circle one. I can't remember the name of it, but anyway, so that's the carving one from Diamond Core Tools that I use. This is one of the curved V-tip, I believe it's called, but it's a wider one. They have skinnier ones as well. I like this one because I can get those really wide grooves when I carve with this one. And then I have this U-shaped palm carver as well. I'm not so much worried about the length of it as much as I just like the curved U-tip as well. So that's some of my favorite carving tools. My fancy signing tool, that's probably one of my favorites. That's a 20 penny nail. That's what I sign my pots with. I still hand sign everything. And then I trim around the base with a Kemper knife like that. I've made my own stamp to go for my buttons at the bottom of my handles. So like when I have a coffee mug and I put a button at the base of the handle, that comes from this stamp that I made that makes that design at the base of the handle for my button. So yeah, and my throwing tools are really basic. You can see those on my YouTube channel if you go check out any videos on throwing there. So, all right. You guys are welcome. Definitely thank you for being here. This, like I said, I didn't have anything specific to say for this one other than show you guys all the things that are getting ready for the wood firing, and just to kind of talk about a couple things that were on my mind, on my heart as well. But I have so much to do in the next couple days, but you know what gets done will get done. And no matter how that goes in the next couple days, we'll start loading Wednesday. We'll load Wednesday and Thursday. Thursday night, start the firing. And the voyage will begin, and we'll be along for the ride for about 40 hours of firing. And like I said, I'm just glad it'll be a little bit cooler this time. And just hope everything comes out well in the whole process. So a whole lot of planning and a whole lot of hoping for great results. And then Tuesday when we unload, we'll really find out. So. All right, thank you guys. If you have any more questions, last call. Excuse me. If not, we'll end it here. My wife's been asking me questions on text too. I don't think she realizes I'm live. We talked about it, but then there's a few things going on in the house that I got to attend to as well. So, all right, I don't see any questions. So thank you guys so much. Thank you for the well wishes on the firing. And I'll definitely be sharing things with you. But yeah, like I said, you can check out my Instagram, YouTube, I mean, you're on YouTube, Facebook. I do have a Patreon. I don't promote that very much, but if you're interested there, I don't necessarily put specific content on there that nobody else gets, but it's just for people that want to support me for all that they've gotten out of my YouTube content. I don't, like I said, it's just there for people that feel like, hey, I've gotten a ton out of his YouTube channel, and here's a little something back. I do send out some things to people, to patrons, but like I said, I don't put specific video content on there that's not elsewhere. Anyway, thank you guys, and hope you have a great night. And yeah, we'll see you in a few days when we start the fire, and most likely. But just stay tuned to YouTube and Instagram, and to get updates on how things are going. So, you guys have a good night, and we'll see you soon. All right, bye.